How are you?
Good morning.
Welcome into another episode of Exiles TV, coming to you from the newly renovated and ready to open up to the public, the Bayou Smokehouse, old school barbecue on Coursey Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Everybody's going to come on by and enjoy some delicious barbecue.
Now, for those of you who are driving by, the biggest words you see are old school barbecue, because the Bayou Smokehouse is...
It's more of a logo.
It's in a logo.
It's in art.
But
with a little flaming pig with sunglasses.
Slow
it's
down.
Sweet, I like it.
Open your windows and you'll be able to let your nose guide you in.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And we look forward to it once they get up and running and get all their preparations ready to go. We're going to have the proprietress as a guest and ever talk about the fine foods here.
Well, I'm seeing you with a big old lobster-style bib on you with juice dripping down your
brother,
face.
I love barbecue.
Remember when we used to have what they call food drops at stations? Mm-hmm. And let me tell you what, you always ate it, you always loved it, but you never ever wanted to see a barbecue restaurant or an Italian restaurant do a food drop, because you got it all over you.
Well, here's the one thing I noticed. They'd come and they'd do this food drop with all this wonderful barbecue, and they'd always seem to conveniently forget napkins.
Napkins, yeah, napkins.
So you're getting those out of the kind of tear off one at a time out of the bathroom to use to wipe your hands.
Now, the best food drop in terms of being easy for the people on the air is pizza. Now, the second best food drop is like a restaurant that does burgers, usually to go. You know, like when that new Sonic opened downtown. Mm-hmm. Those burgers, that was car food. You could take that beautiful burger and shake it like this and nothing would fall out.
But you know what I miss was, and this, we got to go back to the 90s for this, but when Subway was coming on strong in Baton Rouge, and Subways were opening all over the place in every neighborhood, every part of town, and Subway would come on Thursdays and do a food drop. And that was Subway's good eating while you're working food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The nice thing about radio and television stations, when somebody comes and does a food drop, you see people that you never knew worked there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, do I know you? Yeah, I'm in accounting. We have accounting? Speaking of eating and working, let's bring you up to date on something
that happened.
And dropping,
only not dropping food.
Something that happened last summer. 6 of 7 women charged in an August 2020 attack on a Chili's hostess. This is the Chili's at College Drive on the frontage road. They are all pleading not guilty to attacking the hostess. They're charged with disturbing the peace, which is really only a misdemeanor, but they are going to go to trial for it. The attack happened.
One is charged with felony aggravated battery.
Is she really? Just the one. Anyway, this happened in August of 2020 in the midst of restaurants being able to allow people to come in and dine during the COVID crisis. Masks were required until you got to your table, limited seating. And the hostess, 17-year-old Kelsey Wallace, was trying to explain to a group of 13 women that because of coronavirus precautions, they could only seat them 6 to a table. And they wanted a big, long 13 top. They wanted, push some tables together. So, well, they got upset and they got violent with the girl and pushed her, and she pushed back. And next thing you know, they're all on this 17-year-old girl, kicking and beating, and they tore out her hair in a place, and she was not insignificantly injured.
Oh, one of them took a metal sign for wet floor. You know, when they just mopped the floor, and she slammed it into the lady's head, the 17-year-old's head, causing an injury to one of her eyes and a big gash in her head. So Tammy Dabney is charged with felony aggravated battery. Her arraignment is set for next week. Sherry Bass will have a bench trial. The 5 other women, Lakeisha Antoine, Erica Dabney, Ty Doucette, Laura Shawn Morgan, and Sasha Vernell, have a bench trial. It means no jury, just a judge.
Yep.
For June 23rd. But you said something very interesting. It was like, we all saw it. They got them on video.
They got them on video.
At 2 different camera angles.
They have people with their cell phones, and then there's also ceiling cameras of the store, the restaurant.
So I mean, you're going into court. Are you going to use the Shaggy defense? It wasn't me.
Not just a woman who looks like me. Wasn't me. Well, I got you on the camera.
It wasn't me. It's a Shaggy defense.
So I don't know what defense that they can mount other than because of the stresses of the COVID crisis.
I will say this. If they are acquitted, they should file suit against the person who takes the mug shots at EBR Parish Prison. I mean, come on.
Those aren't flattering at all.
These are not good pictures.
But they don't always use mugs. They sometimes use your driver's license photo.
Yeah.
And I've seen driver's license photos that look like mugs. But here's my thing. My problem with this crime, and I had the problem when it happened back in August of last year, is the girl's just the messenger. To get violent with the person who is telling you what the policy of the restaurant is just ignorant. It's just ignorant. It's like, it's just her job to tell you, so why beat on her? 17-year-old girl who is apologizing to you while telling you, I can only seat you 6 to a table.
Well, let me tell you what happened. From my point of view, is nobody was going to tell this group anything because they had made up their mind. You are a complete moron if you were living anywhere in this state and anywhere in this city if you didn't realize that restaurants could seat no more than 6 at a table. Mm-hmm. They went in there and they decided.
It was all over the news. The governor had press conferences. We all knew it.
And by the way, they had signs at most restaurants, and Chili's had one of those signs. We apologize, due to COVID restrictions, we are unable to seat more than 6 at a table. But they went in there saying, that doesn't apply to us, and we're going to get loud, and we're going to get angry, and we're going to have our way.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what happens with these ladies. One arraignment is next week, and the rest come later on in the month. And we'll see if any of them decide to do what I think is the wise thing and say, Your Honor, I'm guilty. I throw myself to mercy of the court.
No, they're going to use the shaggy defense.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
That was just a woman who looks exactly.
It wasn't me.
Exactly like me.
I was just passing through and I got shoved.
Time for our first break of the hour. Let's take that and enjoy these messages. We'll be right back later this hour with the legislative session approaching. We've got Baton Rouge State Representative Ted James going to talk about some bills that he's got before the legislature. That's coming up on Exiles. That's your cue.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Kevin Gallagher, Bill
That's me.
Profita, so glad to have you with us this morning.
Well, Bill, did you see that one of the key figures in the Watergate scandal of the 1970s, G. Gordon Liddy, the man who they say was the mastermind
Oh, yeah.
of the plans to break into that was the Democratic headquarters at the Watergate Hotel and steal inside information that would give them an advantage in the presidential election. G. Gordon Liddy dead, 90 years of age.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
You know, he was right out of central casting. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody thought he was CIA. He was actually FBI.
Yeah.
He'd had a long career at the FBI and joined the committee to re-elect the president, or as it was called, CREEP. And he was the mastermind of the Watergate break-in. And he was one of the ones that got caught. And you want to talk about, again, the character right out of central casting. He sat there through every congressional investigation. He sat there through being charged in federal court. He said, and he's like, I ain't telling you nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And he did his time, and he got out.
Which his time was 4 years and 4 months in a federal prison and 100 days in solitary confinement for bad behavior while he was in jail.
Go figure.
Yeah. But then he comes out, he's doing the talk show circuits, he's publishing books. Next thing you know, he's got a talk radio show. You know, I'd say, you know, considering that he was essentially a criminal, things worked out pretty well for G. Gordon Liddy.
Yeah, he was, like I said, he was a character. I was telling you this off the air. Years and years ago, I got an opportunity to interview a very, very minor character in all of this. Mm-hmm. This was someone who worked in the White House that wasn't involved in the planning of this, did not hear about it until it started to make news. And, you know, he wasn't Ehrlichman, Haldeman, Dean. I even forgot the guy's name. But I asked him, I said, did any of the principals, since it became common knowledge and you were in the White House and the investigation was going on, did any of them talk to you about if you got a subpoena or anything like that? And he said, Liddy talked to him. And I said, this is going to be good. What did Liddy tell you? Liddy said, if you get a subpoena, if somebody asks you, you know very little, but you don't tell them what you do know, or I'll kill you.
Or I'll kill you.
And I said, well, was he kidding around? He said, no, he was serious. He said he would not have had a problem killing somebody, and he'd have taken the rap for it.
I think a lot of us, it's been long enough for a lot of us have forgotten what this all was about. It was the Democratic headquarters at the Watergate building, June 1972. But there was also the September 1971 burglary at the office of Daniel Ellsberg,
The psychiatrist.
a defense analyst who had in his possession what was called, became to be known, the Pentagon Papers. And they were basically very damning evidence against the Joint Chiefs of how the Vietnam War was handled. And again, there was a whole thing to go in and snatch that evidence so it couldn't be used against the administration. It all brought about the downfall of Richard Nixon and his resignation, the only president that has resigned office in modern times.
Well, and again, they called the burglars the White House plumbers. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. A lot of them didn't speak English.
Well, that was the problem. And they were, as police agencies all over the country said, it was an amateur third-rate burglary. The people who actually went inside had no idea what they were looking for and no idea where it was. And the way they made their way inside was one of them had come in disguised as a plumber earlier in the day, and it's the oldest gag in the book. He put a piece of tape over the lock of the door.
So the door didn't latch.
So the door didn't latch. Now, they didn't do their reconnaissance, and they didn't realize that they had a door shaker, a security guard, who once every 2 or 3 hours went and checked all the doorknobs, shook the door, and boop, one popped open. He sees and hears people inside. He calls the cops. They all get arrested, and of course, they didn't know nothing until they started to know something about 2 hours later.
And of course, there was the call from Forrest Gump in the hotel room across the street.
Yes.
There is something going on over there. There, the lights are going on like they got flashlights or something.
But You want to talk about it could have been a well executed with
No, it was
CIA precision.
pretty ham-handed operation.
There were a lot of people at the time that speculated that they wanted to get them caught, and if they would just keep quiet, they would take care of their families and take care of them, and that way there wouldn't be any connection if they got caught.
I remember on 60 Minutes an interview with Liddy, and he criticized President Nixon as being insufficiently ruthless. And he advised him, he said, you need to destroy your audio tapes, you need to cover this thing up more thoroughly. And I think all that they did was they recorded over, or they blanked out 18 minutes
Rosemary
of White
Woods
House tapes.
hit the erase pedal.
Yeah, by mistake.
Yeah.
But he said Nixon was insufficiently ruthless to take part in such a plot.
Well, it was news for months and months and months. It was probably the biggest scandal to hit the White House since Grover Cleveland moved his cousin in the early part of the 20th century.
And it spawned that phrase that we all came to know from the Watergate hearings. What did the president know, and when did he know it?
And it has left us with a suffix that will endure long after you and I are gone. Everything is a gate.
Yep.
Camera gate, nanny gate.
Everything became, gate became, came after everything. What was it? Travelgate.
Travelgate.
In the Clinton administration. Everything that was a government conspiracy or scandal had a gate thrown on the end of it. Crazy. But
Gordon Liddy is dead. And is he the last? Because I'm pretty
the
sure.
The last living Watergate conspirator?
John Dean is still alive.
I was going to guess Dean, but I honestly do not know.
I believe
do not know.
Well, we know that Nixon has passed away. Mm-hmm. We know that John Mitchell passed away.
Mm-hmm. Haldeman, Ehrlichman?
Ehrlichman and Haldeman, I believe, are dead. Senator Baker, who was the attorney who was trying to advise them to do the right thing and fess up, he's dead. I think John Dean is still alive.
Those were the days back when we used to be just thoroughly outraged at this kind of illegal activity going on in federal government. Now we kind of shrug it off, We hear about stuff and we just go, show me the proof or I'm out of here.
Right, and the thing is, they didn't get anything useful.
Yeah, it was a
Not
failed.
only did they get caught, they didn't get anything
failed
useful.
Operation that brought down a president. A failed operation.
If you had done that with Carlo Gambino, you'd have been floating before nightfall.
And by the way, let's not forget that Nixon won re-election in '72.
Yes.
He was forced to resign 2 years later, but he won re-election.
But I mean,
even without the information he didn't get from the Watergate break-in.
I mean, I can see this if this had been handled by a mafia don. You said who? They got caught? They didn't get the stuff?
Grease them, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Everybody goes.
Every one of them's going fishing.
You said who?
Take them out on a fishing boat.
And you know what? Liddy probably said that's what we need to do.
We're going to shift our focus from federal government to state government. We have a legislative session that starts up in 13 days.
Yay!
From Baton Rouge, State Representative Ted James got some bills he could talk about and some ones that maybe he could give us a little foreshadowing of. He's going to join us next on Exiles TV. Be right back.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
The selection is deep, and the time to get a used car is right now from the Team Automotive Group. Shop and save on over 125 certified vehicles and choose from more than 700 pre-owned vehicles at any of our team locations. Or log on anytime at teamautouse.com.
Exiles TV, glad to have you with us, Kevin Gallagher. I'm Bill Profita, and sitting in the middle, what do we always call him, Kevin? A damn good-looking man.
Damn good-looking man.
State Representative Ted James. How are you, Ted?
Good morning. I miss you guys.
I miss you too.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen each other.
You gave us a scare a year ago, buddy.
Yeah, a year ago today, I was still in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You gave us a pretty good scare.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your experience with COVID later, but of course we have a legislative session coming up. You are now in your second term, third term? Third term.
Yeah, I'm an old guy on the block.
So after this, you got to run for something else.
I'll run for the House.
Or run for the House.
Run
Not
home.
the House of
You know,
Representatives.
when that District 2 seat came open, there were people that were wondering if you were going to make a move for it.
You know, I was shocked by the results. Numbers-wise, that's a New Orleans-based district.
But look at how well Gary Chambers did in that election.
Gary did amazing. And,
You
and
could have
I've told
done.
him-
You could have done twice that, man.
Look, I've told him when he told me he was running, I said, man, you're going to get your butt kicked. And what I saw him do is nothing short of amazing. But, you know, there have been some thoughts about what I or some other folks could have done. But, you know, he ran a good race. You know, redistricting, hopefully we will do a little bit more to at least make the 6th congressional district at least a little bit more competitive, right?
Remind me of how we're doing the redistricting now. Is that the state Senate and state House collaborating, or is it a committee from just one or the other?
It's a collaboration, but for the Senate map, there's this unwritten rule that each chamber won't make changes to the other chamber's map. So there'll be collaboration
That makes some sense.
on the Supreme Court, Congress, PSC, but House will handle our map and the Senate, they'll do the same.
Do you expect a lot of differences of opinion?
Almost definitely, yeah. I
I covered
think
the last redistricting.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mess.
It's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the session is going to be until next year, which, you know, we're hearing it's because of the numbers, but strategy-wise, we know on the Democratic side, I guess the number one tool that we have is a governor that can veto the map if it's not as equitable as we can get it, right? But I know that doing it next year before a session is easier if there's a plan to override that veto, right? It's much harder to get that override if we are already out of session and everybody's back home. But if we're already here, you know, you could twist some arms to get to those 70 votes you need. And, you know, on the House side, we're only, I think, one vote short of a supermajority. So Republicans have picked up a lot in the House over my tenure in the legislature, and there's already a supermajority in the Senate. So the House is the backdrop.
Well, we only do reapportionment when we gain a lot of people in the state or when we lose a lot of people.
That's right.
And I think we know that we haven't gained a lot of people.
You know, I'll tell you, my district is one that was picked up after Katrina, right? And we know what happened in Baton Rouge in 2016, the Great Flood.
Yeah.
So the preliminary numbers that we already see in Baton Rouge, we're losing. So when we look at the map out of the 105 districts, when we look at those that have lost, mine is number 3. So we're in a fight. right? To maintain, and of course I'm gone. This is my last term, but I want to maintain the political power here in Baton Rouge.
Can somebody actually lose a whole district? Can a District 8, can it just disappear?
Well, it won't disappear. It could relocate, right? So, like mine is District 101, right? And it was in New Orleans, and most of those districts are in the 90s and the 100s. So mine being here, 101, it didn't disappear. Just
migrated.
It just relocated. That's right. Yeah.
Ted, do you mind talking about some of the bills that
Sure,
you already got?
sure.
I just went to the search results to see which ones you had filed. You've got 5, but you're going to drop some more.
Yes.
Before the thing starts. But I see 3 of these are fiscal only bills. Let's hit on them first. 299 and 300, House Bills 299 and 300 affect something that affect a lot of families.
That's right.
And that's that earned income tax credit. Can you explain both of those?
So, and I don't remember the year, maybe 4 years ago, we increased the credit, the earned income tax credit from 3.5 to 5% of the federal credit. But that expires in 2025. So we were able to negotiate that during one of the last tax reform sessions. So we wanted to make sure we got something to working families. So I have 2 bills. One will increase it from 5 to 10%. And make that credit permanent. The other bill, and it's probably if I don't get any traction on the 10%, we'll fall back to this one. The other one just makes the 5% permanent, right? So there's
sunset.
No sunset, right? So both of them, there's some permanency there because if we don't do anything, of course, it's going to be a tax increase on working families. It's not a huge tax increase, right? But the earned income tax credit, traditionally, I think it was a Ronald Reagan started program, and it traditionally has had a lot of bipartisan support.
Well,
Now,
I want
go
to
ahead, Bill.
clarify.
No, go ahead.
When you say permanent, that means the number in the tax code is permanent, not the person who gets it. Because
Most definitely.
if your income goes up,
That's
you
right.
probably will not be eligible for it.
Correct.
But explain to us, who does this benefit?
Mostly working families.
Working families with lower
income and some children, right? And it is a nominal credit. It's something that most folks, well, I'm not gonna say most folks, something that's not gonna make or break me, right? But $150 here, $200 here can make a huge difference for.
But if you're trying to raise a family on $30,000 a year,
it's difficult.
Yeah.
Well, and what a lot of people don't understand is it won't happen in the tax year you're in right now.
Correct.
But let's say you lost your job because of COVID, and so your annual income dropped from $75,000 to $20,000. In the next tax year, you will be able to have an earned income tax credit.
Most definitely.
Based on that shortfall, that'll help you out at least in the next tax year,
Correct.
and will continue to help you if you don't get your income replaced.
That's right.
This is a good bill.
Yeah, and I think so. I think most of my bills are good bills. I found some bad ones sometimes.
Well, the thing that I've always noted about you filed very few bills I thought that were extremely partisan bills, and you've usually gotten bipartisan support on your bills.
Yeah.
So I think you're to be commended for that, for the reach out to the other side. Tell me about 285. This is about voting and how much time you can spend in a machine. What is the current rule?
There are no rules, right? We saw, especially last year, with the number of things that we have, the constitutional amendments, and the time that it takes for someone, the 3 of us. We'll go to PAR's website, or we'll go to the website and we'll research before we get there, right? Some folks are actually going in there, and we're going to encourage people to vote from the top all the way to the bottom. 3 minutes is the minimum that we're asking, so folks are not kicked out, right? We didn't see, I'm not going to say there was a mass fraud or issues, but we did have some isolated incidents where folks were rushed out, especially during early voting when the lines were extremely long. So this will set that minimum time so folks can have in the voting booth.
And that would be more or less time?
More time, yes.
What do you propose?
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
3 minute rule.
3 minutes?
It's not a lot.
3 minutes is not a lot. I was thinking 5 is reasonable.
That might be a good amendment.
if you need to go down that ballot, we've had some long ballots in this state.
Look, and we've had a lot of them, right? And there's a lot of confusion, especially last year when we had judges races that were postponed because of COVID, and then you had judges races in August, and then they had to run again in November. There's a lot of confusion, so it caused folks to we see a lot of people that are actually going in the voting booths and then they'll pick up their phone to make sure, hey, I thought this was on my ballot when it really wasn't. So folks are needing more time.
Not this most recent, but I believe it was 2 general elections back. There were 9 constitutional amendments. Now, if you want people to be informed and be good voters and be responsible, you can't read all 9 of those amendments in 3 minutes.
I agree.
But a lot of voters don't do their homework, and I dare say probably a lot of voters don't even have the Go Vote app. What I do is I've always got my votes already cast in the Go Vote app, and I just take it in there with me and just translate it over.
Now, again, you don't want somebody having their lunch in there either, so I think it's
that's true.
Idea,
that's true.
To have a time limit, but I didn't realize we didn't have any rules.
But there are folks, like on election day my phone blows up. I send out suggested ballot, but there are some folks that may not live in my district, and people call me from the voting booth, right? So I know it, and folks are texting me, and if I don't respond quickly enough, I'll get a phone call. So I know that folks are in there, and there are certain issues that they don't know or understand before they go. And I think this is a reasonable amount of time.
You got a couple of criminal justice bills here.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
I think it's 46 maybe.
46 provides, this is just what the abstract says.
Yeah.
Provides relative to certain pretrial procedures.
So basically that bill will limit the amount of time someone can spend in jail before actually being charged, right? So the current law says DAs have 45 days to officially file charges on most misdemeanors and 75 on felonies and more serious crimes. So right now we see folks, and the law provides me as a defense attorney, I could file a 701 motion at day 50 and say, hey, my client was arrested on this day and they still haven't been charged, right? For my client that has bonded out, it's not that big of a deal. But if I have a client that can't afford bond, he's sitting there for 2 months and hadn't been charged with anything. And the DA, most judges, once I file that motion, most judges will say, okay, and the DAs just go file a bill of information and the guy still sits there. And then on the fiscal side, we're spending a lot of money on pretrial jail costs. So our tax dollars are going to the sheriff to house people that have not been charged. So this will, and this is one that I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of debate about, because my bill will reduce that time to 3 days and 15 days. So
you're gonna have a fight.
that's it's a huge, and one thing that's different.
But Ted, we have people that are 6 months in jail on something like trafficking themselves for prostitution. A woman arrested.
That's right.
And she's been in jail for 6 months and she hasn't been in front of a judge.
That's right, and that's a problem. And we have some folks that have been in jail so long, we are spending more than if they just went and pled guilty and paid a fine, right? Most folks are in jail with a bond higher than the penalty for the crime. Now, I'm not saying that people should just go and plead guilty to get out of jail, but that happens, right? If you are looking at a charge when you're gonna sit in jail and potentially lose your job, be away from your family, or just go and plead guilty, a lot of people just go and plead guilty, and then we have a whole another issue with another bill that I haven't filed yet with folks that just have these lengthy criminal records.
I'm thinking the DAs are probably going to support you because they want to see it sped up.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they'll go for 3 days, right? But, and we've had some good conversations, right? And the idea actually started here because our DA, they went through a pilot program where they, I think 72 hours, right? And it was hard on the DAs, but we saw when everybody kind of worked together, it helped us save money.
Well, the sheriffs are probably going to oppose it because it gets into their revenue stream.
Most definitely, most definitely.
That sheriff's lobby has a strong lobby.
Oh, I know they're real strong. But we have another member has a recreational marijuana bill, so I'm sure they'll be focused on that one. I might be able to just slide mine in,
stick it in under the door
while they're paying attention to the weed bills.
While you're paying attention to the weed.
That's right.
We're going to take a break. We got more with State Representative Ted James from here in Baton Rouge coming up. There's one more, and that's about probation and parole. I want to talk about that.
Yep.
And if you don't mind talking about it, I'd like to talk about your experiences with COVID.
Sounds good.
So we'll be back in just moments with Exiles TV.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
The first big sale of the year is here. The Dream Garage Spring Event is underway at Team Honda. For the first time ever, get $12.50 customer cash on every new 21 Passport, or get 0% for 60 months on every new 21 Pilot at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Hey, we're back. It's Exiles TV. Bill Profita on the far end. I'm Kevin Gallagher on this end. And State Representative Edward Ted James is with us. We've been talking about some of the bills he's got pre-filed for the legislative session. It begins on the 12th?
Yes.
The 12th. Coming up fast.
Coming up.
Now, this is a short fiscal-only session.
That's right.
But you do get to file bills that are not fiscal. You get, I think each lawmaker gets up to 5.
Correct.
One of the bills I want to talk about that's already in the abstract is your number 248. Decreases probation and parole fees for certain offenses.
So basically, we have folks that are on what's called inactive probation or parole. They don't have to report to anyone. They don't have to report to a judge or parole officer, but they're still in that period of time when they have to refrain from certain activity. So mine is trying to reduce that fee, right? I have it to $1.
Well, sure, if nobody's monitoring,
nobody's
then what are they
monitoring,
paying for?
you're not paying for anything. And the reason why it's $1 is because that's a fee bill, so it doesn't count against me. So I could have taken it to 0, but it would have counted against me. So we're gonna reduce it down to $1. And I think most law enforcement agencies are in agreement with it because it minimizes because they still have to report and account for these folks, but they are not monitoring them. So it's hard to account for someone that you aren't
What kind of fee is it
monitoring.
now?
It's up to $50.
Up to $50 a month?
Yep, correct. Yep. And that's for someone that has a criminal history in a state where we have over 380 plus provisions that say as a ex-offender you can't do this, you can't work here, you can't get this license. So it's in a manner to try to help those folks get back on their feet.
Now, do you have any bills that you haven't filed yet? Because I know the deadline is today, I think.
Yeah, so I have to request by 12 today. I have one that I'm working on with BREC that will allow BREC the original dedication, and since BREC is a political subdivision of the state, most folks ask, why are you legislating regarding BREC? So the law says that BREC is only allowed to do recreational things. BREC has this idea to do a full complex at Memorial Stadium, which will allow them to do have some restaurants, some retail, office space, even some medical training there. So and of course, they have to come to the state legislature to get that done. So, as someone, I used to play football in Memorial Stadium in middle school. So, to be able to do something to bring some activity there is important.
It's an important historical property, and I mean, I'm thinking that fits into the North Baton Rouge Economic Development District quite nicely.
It's like a glove. Absolutely.
So they might even be able to get some state economic development dollars.
Well, we were able to do about $300,000 last year for North Baton Rouge, and which is, folks say, oh, that's nothing in a $26 billion budget. But when you're competing for funds with 146 other people, that was a huge investment. It's the largest investment they've ever had.
Well, and they already have the real estate, right?
Most definitely.
Plus, I just think it's a good idea to have more places in the capital city where people can gather.
Most definitely.
And they can enjoy a little food, a little drink, not necessarily alcohol, but just where people can gather and have something to do. And I think that's an idea that would get a lot more use out of that space than we're getting now.
Because now it only gets use on Friday nights for a few months out of the year.
When was the last time there was a special event, a non-football event?
They
in that
did
stadium?
COVID vaccinations.
There you go.
Yeah.
And testing.
Okay, but I mean,
That's
it used to occasionally there'd be some kind of a special event would come to Memorial Stadium, but it's been years.
And hopefully we can reattract those.
Are you going to get any opposition to this one? This seems like a no-brainer to me.
I don't see where the opposition would come from.
Because there's not going to be any fiscal swing for the state.
Only an upswing for us.
Yeah.
And locally, especially, and you can put some folks to work, right? You can put, some engineers and some architects to work, and you got the folks when all this stuff has to be built.
Local tax revenue?
But I'm sure that next year they're going to ask for capital outlay to be able to fund some of this stuff.
Oh, yeah, well, one step at a time.
That's right. That's right.
If you don't mind, I want to switch gears. You caught COVID a year ago.
That's right.
Give or take. You had a very, very rough time.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that you feel lucky to be alive. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
I'll tell you, there was a point in time where I didn't think that I would ever see you gentlemen again. My family, my little girl. And for me, my case was so early. We shut down one Monday. The next Monday, I test positive, and then the next Monday, I'm in the hospital within 2 weeks. Early on, the nurses and doctors, I joke all the time, like the young lady that would bring my food in the room. You've been in the hospital, they wheel it all the way to the bed, make sure, and she was kind of like standing at the door, like pushing it, like I'm not going in there with that guy. But seriously, there was a point in time where I just couldn't breathe on my own and didn't think that I would see family again. Certainly didn't think about
were
the
you
legislature.
On a ventilator?
I wasn't. I was very close. Wow. Thank God, right? Very close to ventilator.
I ask you this because I can relate to the emotionality of this, because I had the very same experience during my heart surgery. But you had a man that wasn't there that basically walked you through.
Look, I had a nurse there who, I think it may have been day 3, I wasn't eating. And I haven't told a lot of people this, but I was afraid to go to sleep because I didn't know if I was going to wake up. And I had friends and family calling me every 2 hours just to make sure I was still alive. And this guy, one of my nurses, I had to go to the bathroom, and I'm hooked on to oxygen. So I hadn't been able to go anywhere by myself. And I kept calling. I was like, hey, man, I got to go to the bathroom. He's like, okay, well, I'll come in there with you. And I was like, oh, no, you're not coming to the bathroom. He's like, dude, you've been laying down for 3 days. And he's like, you have to get up. So he took me off the oxygen, and this is the first time in 3.5 days that I'm breathing on my own. So he stands outside of the door, and again, no one had been in my room past a minute for 3 days, right? So he's there, he's like, look, if something happens, just start banging and I'll come in and I'll get you. So after I use the bathroom, he's like, look, you're up, let's walk. So we walked from the window to the door, And, I had some pictures of my daughter, and he's like, look, man, you got to fight back for her. Like, this is not one of those deals where you just have to lay down. You have to actually fight back. And in that moment, I started to, really think about the future and think about, just me being like the brave person that you guys have watched in the legislature, right? That fight that you've seen, I just didn't have it until I had that conversation with him. And then get out of the hospital and learn that he was a student that had gone to Southern.
Oh, you did identify.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So I remember last summer when you told us this story, it was kind of a mystery man.
Yeah. So they reunited me with him. He's actually a student. He played in the band at Southern. Graduated from Southern. I graduated from Southern, and then one day last year I ended up bringing I brought some food to the unit. We brought them dinner to the COVID unit. And I had the opportunity to see him.
God bless you.
Let me ask you this, and this is
Still a guardian angel.
A tough one. This is concerning for a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
You are a COVID survivor. You know everything that anybody will ever know about having this disease. And we know that COVID has ravaged the black community all over this nation. And we now know that there is some pushback from African Americans about taking the vaccine. And you're a leader in that community. If you're asked, or even if you aren't asked, what will you tell these folks?
I tell them to take it. I tell them that I know, right? We can point to the numbers of people that were alive last year that are no longer with us because of COVID. I cannot point to one person that has died because they took a vaccine. And I will tell them from my experience, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter your health conditions, because I was 38, didn't have all these major conditions.
Healthy as a horse,
and
too.
I got it the day before I got sick. I was running the lakes at LSU. I ran 3 miles without a problem. And I ended up in the hospital. So you do not know how it's going to impact you. And that's one of the things. And I know just historically in the black community, the Tuskegee experiment. So I understand that.
So history has given black people a reason to be leery.
And one of the things that I've stressed upon, and the department just released this last year, we haven't really been smart about this vaccine campaign, and we have to look at it like a political campaign.
You're absolutely right.
When you want black folks to vote for you, you go to their pastors, you show up their churches, and you meet them where they are. And the same folks that are leery and apathetic about voting are the same folks that are leery about taking this vaccine. So now we are really doing this as a campaign. We're partnering with churches. We're getting black doctors. That doctor that has taken care of you for 20 years, you trusted them on other issues, trust that doctor with this. And then access, of course, is a huge issue. So we're making sure that the vaccines are available at places outside of just Pennington and the lake here in the medical corridor. We're giving out the vaccine at churches. We have taken them to Southern University. So we're addressing the concern by having trusted voices talk about it. And then we are overcoming the issue of access by meeting folks where they are.
Well,
and the numbers are still low. Like we still, especially in my age group, I have friends that are saying, hey, we'll wait. And I'm like, look, if you were crying, for me last year, right? And I have a video with like 40 of my friends sent me when I was in the hospital. If you were on that video, you should be going to get the vaccine.
Do not wait. I mean, I was heartbroken 2 weeks ago. Pastor up in North Baton Rouge at a Baptist church got 600 doses, and he's begging people to come, and he only had 110 people say they're coming, and then he got the Catholic Church and another Baptist church, and so 4 pastors begging people to come. It shouldn't be that way.
And I think that if we get to the point, where there's a mandate, like if you can't travel, you can't go to this restaurant, you can't do it, that's when folks are going to rush. But I know I don't want to get there, right? I know how hard it was just to enforce the mask mandate. So now, asking people to go take a vaccine, that's the extreme. But I hear that from people.
But the vaccine is the key to getting the mask mandate to go away.
Exactly.
How about this mandate? I don't want you dead.
Yeah.
I don't want you on an event. I don't want you. Kevin just had surgery and he hasn't had his vaccine yet. I don't want you making him dead because he hasn't had a chance and he just had surgery.
Yeah.
Just do the right thing.
Yeah. And then the unfortunate thing is you talked about the toll in the African American community. And then you got folks like Luke Letlow and Steve Carter. And I think that was a wake-up call for some of my colleagues.
Steve Carter was a shock.
Oh, my God.
Luke Letlow was a huge shock.
Luke, I text him. I never met him, right? I just knew his name. But, I'd almost felt like the COVID ambassador last year. So when I knew folks, I would text him. I text him. He texts back. And 2 days later, he was gone.
Well, Ted, we thank God that you are still with us.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for being with us. We're going to have you back again real soon.
Well, look, I'm glad. This feels like we're getting back to normal.
There we go.
Being
back
with you guys
normal.
again. Yep.
We are late to this break. We'll be back in a moment to wrap it up on Exiles TV. Stick around.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Welcome back. How are you?
That was an inspiring chat with Ted.
Ted's an inspiring guy.
Ted's a good guy. I think Ted's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of great ideas. And I said one time at a public event that you and I were emceeing that Ted could be the first black governor of Louisiana. But I think that the history has proved me. I think there was a black provisional governor of Louisiana back during Reconstruction. So let's just say he could be the first black governor of Louisiana in modern times.
Or elected black governor.
He is a Democrat. I know a lot of people, that's a dirty word, but Ted is a Democrat that's always willing to look at the other side and evaluate the other side and reach across the aisle.
Yeah, I like having Ted on. I like having him in our legislature. A sad story before we leave. Former director of Southern University's Human Jukebox Marching Band yesterday was sentenced to 13 months in federal prison.
Wow.
And ordered to pay back more than $78,000 in restitution to Southern University. Nathan Hamer, who had been band director, I think, for 6 or 7 years, was sentenced in federal court yesterday. The ordered restitution is an addition, by the way, to the $34,000 Hamer paid after they terminated his employment. So he's on the hook for, in total, $100,000 in restitution.
Now, this is all relative to events and parades in which the Southern University Band appeared, and money was paid to have Southern appear, right?
Right.
And the money was allegedly, well, I guess he's been convicted, we can say it, the money was pocketed by Mr. Hamer.
Well, that is exactly what the state audit said, that he pocketed hundreds of thousands of dollars meant for the university's marching band. He did plead to a lesser charge of 1 count of program fraud in the amount of $10,000 and then $95,000. So what they are saying is they believe, according to the audit, that it was many hundred thousands of dollars.
Yeah, there were situations, I remember when he was arrested, that there were there were things that were glaring, like when when your band is going to be in a Mardi Gras parade and you tell the crew to write a check made payable to you.
Yeah.
That's especially bad, and hopefully the human jukebox will be able to move beyond this. I mean, they have moved beyond it, but put this scandal, this dark spot in the past.
What makes it sad is that it is such a public position in Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
This program, under the director of bands, is invited to play and march all over the world. And I joke about the uniform that the band director wears. I always call it a Polish admiral's uniform because it's got all kinds of gold braid and all that on it. But I mean, the man or woman wearing that uniform is the tip of this spear that people know all over the world. And this is just such an undeserved black eye for that great band. So I hope he does his time and comes out a changed man. And I hope we never have to see this again. We are getting very near the end. I want to remind you, Clarence Bugg's coming up here in just about 7 or 8 minutes, somewhere around there. And you can watch this again at 10 o'clock tonight on this very same station.
Or on demand. Go to YouTube, search Pelican Broadcasting, and find the Exiles broadcast.
For Kevin and I, we are what they call out of here. But we wish you good fortune. Stay well, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Until we do, bye-bye, everybody.
And may God bless.
Clarence Bugg's coming your way next, so please, don't change the channel. You can get up if you need to, but come back for Clarence.
Don't go changing.
Oh, jeez. You had to do that, didn't you?
No.
We're out of time. Bye-bye, everybody.